Yumbo, Cherry Crush, Fire Crunch, Sweet Sapphire. If you've never heard of these grapes, you're not alone. They're among dozens of new varieties that have emerged in the last decade.
It's quite amazing, and they just keep popping up. Used to kind of be every few years we'd get a new variety in the industry, and now it's just floodgates open and they're popping up left, right and centre.
It's harvest time in the Sunraysia region of Victoria, the heart of Australia's table grape industry. An industry that has rapidly expanded in recent years as the export market in Asia has opened up.
In terms of production, we've probably gone from, say, 150,000 tonne to 220,000 tonne. But in terms of increased value, we have probably gone from about $300 million to nearly $1 billion.
While Australia may be a relatively small player in the export market, global demands have meant some big changes on the ground. Royalty-free public varieties that have dominated the local industry, like Thompson, Crimson and Menindee, are swiftly being replaced by grapes bred by international companies.
When I first started, you would have had 4 or 5 main varieties, and every vine would have, once you planted it, you kind of really didn't plan on pulling it out. It would be 25, 30 years down the track. Fast forward to where we are today, well, you're probably looking at, like we said, 70, 80 varieties, and some varieties are lucky to make 5, 6 years. How's it going? All good so far? That's all right.
For fourth-generation fruit grower Anthony Cirillo, investing in new varieties has doubled his harvest window. But not all of them have paid off. So what are we walking through here?
We're walking through a newly planted patch of Fire Crunch.
So what was here before?
There's another red variety, actually, a new genetic variety, and for whatever reason doesn't work in Australia, and yeah, we were forced to pull it out.
So do you see that a lot with all these new varieties?
Well, look, the more we try, the more incidents of failure we're going to have, right? But once you get bitten once, you're kind of a bit shy to go gung-ho again.
How many times have you been bitten?
Twice so far. I hope that's no more, but I doubt that that'll be the case.
60% of Australian table grape vineyards are now home to newer varieties. And one big producer that's gone further than most is Grape Co. near Mildura.
We're 99% IP varieties now. The last 1% will be gone after this year.
Adrian Kaya's family has been in the business for 50 years, first as dried fruit producers before switching to fresh. While 75% of the grapes leaving their packing facility are destined for the domestic market, Adrian and his brother have travelled much further afield looking for new textures and flavours, and were among the first to partner with international breeders. What did the industry, or what did most growers think when you're bringing in these new varieties?
There was scepticism, yeah. I mean, even from ourselves, we didn't know if it was going to work. Definitely at the start, even when they were commercial, we hit some roadblocks and people not knowing what they were.
But after testing 80 varieties and commercially planting around 30, the company, which holds the marketing rights to some of the sweetest grapes, has propelled some very catchy names onto supermarket shelves. Woolworths says trademarked grapes like Candy Hearts and Cotton Candy are growing in popularity with younger customers. But it's unlikely the Australian table grape industry is going down the same path as apples anytime soon, where varieties are front and centre.
The rank and file new varieties that are coming out now are still only marketed red, green or black. And there are a number of them they're in the stores now. They look really nice, they taste good, but they're not named by their variety. And I don't see that changing in the future.
Another grower who knows all about introducing and marketing new varieties is Enrique Rossi.
Yeah, make sure to check inside, please.
Originally from Chile, one of the world's biggest producers of table grapes, Enrique started out as an agronomist in the Australian industry. But when he got lost visiting a grower, he made an impulsive decision to practice what he preached. So how did you end up here with your own property?
I entered to this street, I got lost. I saw the for sale sign and entered. He got a house, he got a shed that he was half built. I went to the bank that afternoon. I didn't say nothing to my wife. 2 days later, I got the approval, and I told her, we're moving in 1 month.
Today, he's picking the public Crimson variety for the last time, with plans to pull out this vineyard after harvest. But like Adrian Kaya, the former agronomist, who was also involved in importing new varieties, remembers when growers weren't convinced swapping public with privately owned grapes was a good idea.
There was no uptake of new varieties.
Oh, people weren't interested?
No, because they were cautious in regard, oh, something new, I have to pay royalties. I don't know if it's going to perform. It was very hard, honestly. There was only a handful that took the first step.
That handful has turned into the majority of the industry's 800 growers, as consumer trends in the Northern Hemisphere flowed south. So this all used to be Crimson here?
Yes.
And now what is it?
This is called Allison Seedless. This is a bloom fresh variety.
And why have you put this in?
Because the demand from the consumer is to look for bigger berries, different textures and flavors.
I have to eat one,
Yeah.
but this is not quite ripe yet.
It's not quite ripe.
It's certainly crunchy.
It's crunchy, but it's not quite ripe. It's even more. It's like an apple texture.
As well as the look, taste and texture, Allison is known for its long shelf life, which, when you're exporting all your fruit like Enrique does, is a big selling point, as is the yield.
1 hectare of Allison is equal to 2.5 hectares of Crimson. So we get the returns.
Getting more than double the yield is fantastic, but what about the extra costs that come with that?
I mean, they produce more, so they use more water consumption, so your electricity is higher. Your man hour per hectare is way higher. You need to do more tasks to maintain the fruit. So fertilizer is higher too. And on top of that, there is the fixed price of the royalty to the breeder.
So does it work out better or not?
If you have the market, yes. If you are unsure, it's a gamble. Addison to Kyoko to
Marketing is a major part of the grape game now.
去年ここでピッキングをした時に
And Enrique, who exports mainly to Japan, decided to take it on himself, travelling several months a year and using social media to attract buyers.
クリムゾンが一番皮に張りがあって
Why did you jump in on the marketing side of things? Like, did you have much experience in that?
No, it actually started organically. I mean, we decide like how we sell this. I mean, I go to a middleman. I don't know what I'm getting. I don't know. So I just jump on it. I remember we didn't have much money, honestly. We grab an airplane, cheaper airline, cheaper hotel. We arrived there, knocking door. We went many places. And one said, okay, I take one.
Exports may be driving growth in the industry, but it is an increasingly competitive space. Australia has to contend with higher labour costs and more extreme weather, like this season's heat waves and mid-harvest downpours, which have resulted in major crop losses. And while it still has the edge when it comes to freshness, as it's closer to the Asian market, the gap is closing.
Australia always had a niche over our competitors because we could always grow a better product than them. Now with these new varieties, that gap is closing very quickly, purely because the new varieties are better growing grapes. They're easier to grow. And of course, our competitors, Chile, Peru, South Africa, can grow it for a lot less.
To find that competitive advantage, some growers are going all out to take grapes beyond the bunch and value-add fruit that doesn't meet fresh standards. The Kaya family is experimenting with ice cream and promoting grapes as an ingredient fit for more than just a cheese platter. Enrique has produced juice and bubblegum.
It's not just buying it from a supermarket and eating it fresh. There's many different ways you can do it up or dull it down.
As for the smorgasbord of varieties behind the marketing campaigns, well, many in the industry say there needs to be some consolidation to avoid confusing both consumers and growers. But don't expect the breeding boom to come to a standstill.
Early in the pipeline, we have some red flesh varieties from one of the breeding programs in Spain. So it's not just like your traditional clear inside. And that there's got as good or higher antioxidants than a blueberry.
And while some growers say the old guards of Australia's grape industry still stand up pretty well when it comes to flavour, Anthony Cirillo has no regrets swapping to the next generation.
It's a change to the industry, and any change can bring along a bit of confusion, panic and all the associated feelings, but ultimately we are much better off via the introduction of these new varieties, and I don't know where we'd be without them.